Hey team, welcome in Hermetarius. Tuesday, Mars's messages. Mars Day is Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, December 10th. So this is the first Tuesday this year that Mars is retrograde. He just stationed. As far as Mars is concerned, he's still stationing because he's like right close to that. He's like only a few minutes away, like 4 minutes away from his station spot. And he likes to move fast, so as far as he's concerned, nothing is happening. Another day full of sleep. I'm going to talk about Mars's retrograde pattern, and then I'm going to get into the cards. So Mars right now is in Leo. He's station retrograde. He's moving backwards according to our perspective. He's not really moving backwards. It's just how it looks to us because we're passing him in orbit. And so as we come around, it's like when you pass someone on a highway or when you pass someone when you're running. As you speed up, it kind of looks like they stop and slow down and then they're moving backwards. And then when you get far enough ahead, they come forward again. And it's just an optical illusion from our perspective, from the distance between us and the way that like light and vision works. So what's happening right now is Mars is in Leo. He's retrograde. He's going to move back into Cancer in January. He's going to station direct at 17 degrees Cancer in February. He's going to move back into Leo, I believe, in April. And then he hits new ground. He's free of this entire retrograde path and he's in like new degrees and doing new things and thinking about new things May 3rd. So, this reading in general, again, this is my personal reading that I'm doing today and I'm sharing with Collective as a way to get me on the YouTube finally, but also I'm a member of Collective, so why wouldn't my message resonate with at least some of you? However, I'm not reading for you, so, take it with a grain of salt. So overall, this reading, my intention for it is how do I get through the entire thing? How do I get to next May? But let's narrow it down. How do I get to the direct station? Let's narrow that down even further. How do I get to January? How do I get to, how do I get through Mars in retrograde in Leo? And then let's narrow it down even further. How do we get to next Tuesday? And then hoping that the seed of the thing grows into the thing, whatever the message is for this next week, is the greater message for the entire retrograde. But I'm going to be checking in every Tuesday. Every Tuesday is Mars's day. I'm going to be checking in with him and what's going on. So speaking of Mars's retrograde pattern, I don't know if you guys can see this, but I believe the last superior conjunction we had between Mars and the Sun, I think it was in Scorpio. And then Mars has come all the way around to Leo. He's going to go backwards into Cancer. And then the next external conjunction, when Sun and Mars are together again, is in Capricorn 2026, like January 2026, I believe. So, like, that's the normal pattern. So, yeah, it's a little bit of an aberration that Mars is moving backwards and he's slow when he's usually just such a fast, like, go get him planet. But it is part of his pattern. It is a regular part of Mars's cycle. Go, 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 and then you stop. You stop for a long ass time. It's like an 8-month thing for him almost. And so the big thing that came through is that all of this rest is super appropriate and it's about consistency, not frequency. So take that however that works for you. Mars is not frequently slow. He's not frequently in retrograde, but it's very consistent. It's every 2 years. So it's not like, oh my God, what's happening? This Mars is sick. No, it's just a normal way, perfectly normal way, perfectly expected way for Mars to appear or like for a Mars for us to work with. It's just not frequent, right? But it is consistent. It's totally normal. And then the other message that came through was leaning into your non-doing spaces. So the story I have is that I grew up in a family of bathers. We have baths and we read in the bath. And a few years ago I stopped reading in the bath and I just let like whatever, just bath time be bath time. And nowadays every single bath has a candle. So like get on that train. I support you. It's not indulgent. It's amazing. Make Make your bathtub your altar, okay? However, particularly when we're trying to like change or improve ourselves or improve our habits or our self-talk or behavior, there's a lot of like self-policing that has to happen because no, we're not thinking about that. No, like don't go into that catastrophizing. But you need a space to be human. And so when I'm going through those seasons of personal self-development, the bath is my main space of non-doing. I don't have to do anything in there, which means I'm also allowed to have whatever mindset I naturally have that day. So if I am working really hard on improving my self-talk or how I catastrophize, like all holds are off on in the bath, in the non-doing space. So it's creating more spaces like that. And the other thing that like really works for the bath is like if I just try and sit down and be like, hey, I'm just not going to do anything, I get distracted and I'm up. I can't just leave the bath because then the bath is over. I'm not just going to go, I'm not going to get into a cold bath, right? And so maybe finding more spaces where once you're in, and you're kind of aware that, like, well, once I leave, that's it. And so it makes you not want to leave as quickly and it makes you really sit and stew in that non doing space. And then I have a message, let/allow yourself to change in the next 2 to 5 months. Maybe the change will happen in the next 2 months until the station direct in February. And then maybe the next 3 months until May, when Mars is backtracking over ground he's already been over twice, is when we kind of get to know those new facets of ourselves that have been coming up in this slow retrograde. Retrograde, any word that begins with RE. Redo, reassess, revisit, anything like that. Rest. But also let and allow the divine wow in. Because what happens with the retrograde, with the far planets, is that is when we have the, you can't see this at all, that is when we're going to have the sun oppose Mars, which means Mars is going to be bright and red in the sky. Retrogrades is when the planet is closest to Earth. Mars is so fast, now he's slow. Mars is usually up in the bright sky, now he's going to be bright and red in the night sky. If you're trying to hook into Mars, like this is as close as we can get. This is the time when he's slow enough to grab what he's saying, maybe, right? And if nothing else, even if the next 2 to 5 months is trash, at least we may be able to go outside in January and see this red light in the sky. It's just so cool. So, I mean, at least we have that coming in, right? And then the last message that came through was vilifying rest invites burnout. Burnout being a big, like burn, big Mars word. And then also in brackets, and Saturn's displeasure. Because Saturn is about like rest and convalescence, and Saturn and Mars are the extreme malefics. So they kind of give you limits. But like the limits of the human body, right? Okay, so that's everything that came through with the messages beforehand. Oh, something that just popped into my head, tying in the messages from Sunday and Monday this week, which both had the River Soothe card come up for me from the Prairie Majesty Oracle deck, where I saw something online where they were talking about rest and rejuvenation. And then I saw something today where it was talking about rest and regulation. So if you're losing energy, you want to make sure you rest. But resting just stops you losing energy. It doesn't grow your energy. So not only do you have to rest, you have to rejuvenate. Not only do you have to rest, you have to regulate so that you can rest, so that you can rejuvenate. So maybe the straightforward, quick one and done, like self-care. Mars is in the signs of the luminaries, sun and moon, like that really speak to like our light, our inner light, how we shine, and like the cosmic light that powers everything. So maybe the themes around self-care and like how many steps we take and how we spread it out and how it's not a one and done, but it's a process. Maybe that's what's coming up. I don't know, but I wanted to throw that in there. Okay. I've already shuffled and put everything out, but I'm just going to smoke again. What is this, fumigate? Is it fumigate? No, that's a different thing. Anyway, I'm going to use my incense again. So I don't want any confusion, no anxiety, no tricksters, no riddles, no bullying. It can be frustrating to always get like only beneficial, uplifting, empowering, for the greatest, highest, golden good messages, and kind of not allow anything to come through to be like, bitch, what are you doing? You're dumb. And so once in a while, I will invite my guides in to give me like a shake by the shoulders kind of message. And I'll let them come in, and then I'll like actually shake my body like someone's shaking me by the shoulders, and I just see what comes through. And often it's quit being so mean to yourself, everything's fine. Like you're doing better than any of us, aka the guides, kind of expected. So let's call in, yeah, that beneficial, uplifting, empowering messages, clarity for our greatest, highest, golden good. What do we need to know about getting to next Tuesday, and if appropriate, all the way through to February, all the way through to May of 2025? Okay. Here I am. Ooh! Okay. Here I am. Socialize. Endure. This is the elk card. Where is my strength? This kind of talks about when it's time to cross a bridge, you're going to cross it. So trust yourself. Trust that you can, and trust that you will. Ooh. Sun and Moon. Cancer, Leo. I see you cards. Cauldron. Creation, opportunity, and caring. And serenity. So yeah, I for sure, today at least, I'm doing good. Creating some space for myself. I'm trusting my timing. I did set up some socialization for later in the week, later in the month today, but also I'm like talking to you, I'm talking to my guides. I had an appointment today, so like I talked to those people, and I'm like, I am a hermetarius, okay? So like even having an appointment and having professional talk with people, it counts. And the Wheel of Fortune. Sometimes I think about the Wheel of Fortune upright being like, this is your opportunity to turn, to like direct the trajectory of the wheel, and then upside down, I consider it like the wheel is already turning, like just vibe. But using my regular meaning, and like I might check in later and change that. But yeah, I am kind of trusting in, I am kind of trying to turn the wheel into a space of serenity where I'm trusting my inner emotions to lead me to the opportunities and the creation and the like creative opportunities that I'll actually care about, right? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to trust, and I'm trying to lean into it. What's crossing me right now, what's on my plate, I think this is going to speak about the retrograde. Like, we have to redo some stuff. We have to rethink some stuff. Some stuff is going to change, and we've got to let it come out. What's crossing me right now? Oh! Nine of Swords. Undo. The River Soothe card again. This is, do you feel disconnected? Do not be. Feel the flow. Let it comfort you. Moth. Mystery, concealment, illusion, and joy. I don't know. Like, I have no idea what's gonna be changed. Particularly, like, what of the soothing practices I have don't actually bring me joy. I don't know. What do I have to undo? I'm not sure. It's all concealed right now. This is the very first week of the retrograde, and it's not done till February. So we have like 8 more Tuesdays to discover what, probably mental prisons I've put myself in to undo to actually be soothed and feel joy. I just don't know. It is concealed right now. And I would like to just tilt this wheel into the trajectory of serenity, but I don't even know what I'm doing wrong. And maybe this card is really speaking to the idea that I'm assuming I'm doing something wrong. I'm assuming I need an overhaul, right? Like, I'm putting myself in this state of like, oh God, what do I've got to do? That's not serenity. Of course I'm crossed by this. All right. The foundation of my situation, what I'm in right now, the energy that's present, say, I don't know. Take the cup. We just gotta try stuff. This is really tying into yesterday's message of like trusting your intuition to just like try what's interesting and then back out if it is like super depleting or like not at all fulfilling. Like at least you tried and now you have the experience and you can be like, well, I know I don't like it, right? Say, I don't know. You don't have to know beforehand. Take the cup. Try it. Lean into it. What's just came up is like maybe also we avoid a lot of emotions. Maybe we intellectualize them. I shouldn't be feeling this. There's no point to feeling that. Get into the fog and the concealment and the mystery because joy and like being soothed comes from undoing the idea that you need to justify what you're feeling. I don't know why I'm feeling this. Just feel it, girl. The recent past, what is no longer super present or current, is the idea, play, is the idea that I don't know how to play. This was true. I did a lot of kind of vilifying myself for play. I'm also like pretty autistic, so sometimes I'll be having a good time, like even out alone at home, and my face is really like resting bitch face, like it's stone. Or I'll win something in a game and like I won't smile. And so I had to like learn that like how I play is fine and I don't need to be mean to myself. It's not like a mental task to go fix how I play. Yeah? Okay, cool. Now I'm feeling a lot of pressure that it's probably time to fortify my relationships, to really meet myself in the middle. And that's unfortunate because a lot of the relationships that I have, I'm like, fortify? I don't know. But it's not. What's actually next is follow. Ooh. So this card, a lot of people think it's negative. I don't see it that way. She's kind of smiling. These bands are loose. She's not in danger from the swords. And like I didn't even realize there was this drab little castle behind until I turned it upside down and studied it. And like that's when I first realized it. And then look how bright this is. Like look how gorgeous and warm and natural that is. So what I usually take this card to mean upright is you don't need to see where you're going to take the first step. All we know is we're leaving this drab little fucking mountaintop castle and we're trusting our guides and our mental acuity to guide us and nudge us by the shoulders. It's not a mental game. We can't see, we can't like assess. Like trust your senses and like your perception, even if you don't have a visual perception on where you're going, to take that first step on the journey. If she was upside down, I would say even a blind man knows when he's walking into the sun or when he's standing in the sun. And so like really checking in with the body over the mind on like, are we still on the path? But we're beginning the path. The retrograde just started. Yeah? So you don't need to know where we're going to be in February or May to start. Follow. Follow the messages, follow the guides, follow your feet. Yeah? Not the mind. 8, 9, wow. Okay, I think I am going to turn the wheel, which lets us know kind of the progression of things. So when this energy, when I'm following that inner knowing, not the external knowing, and I'm following my feet, when that is what is current, and I am no longer in this space of saying like, I don't know, and just taking, like following every little whim and emotion, when that's kind of a recent memory, I'm probably going to feel a lot of pressure to restructure how I play, or like really think about how I play, or send myself on like this is a mental card, so trying to find ways to like mentally stimulate myself. But what it's actually going to be time to do is to fortify either my personal relationship with myself or fortify some relationships I have with other people, like meeting myself in the middle, but meeting other people in the middle. What I like about this card is that she is standing, receiving, and he is the one reaching out. He is the one taking the step toward her. Yeah? And usually it's like past, future. So meeting yourself in the middle and like allowing people to meet you in the middle, allowing people to approach you. So maybe fortifying some ideas about, now we've kind of learned how to play, we're on our path. Now we can fortify our relationships and how we show up in relation. Hmm? Hmm? All right. How we shine with our light. With Mars being up in the luminary signs. Once this is the foundation, once I'm fortifying Two of Cups, once I'm fortifying how I balance my emotions, right? Two is balance, Cups is emotions. And the idea that like, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going, is a recent past. I may feel like it's a time still to like be really emotional and like take every little emotion, every little hint, and say, well, I don't know what I'm doing, and like dive back. Once I'm fortifying these emotions, it might feel like, well, now I've got to dive deep into them and like figure out what they all are. But no, now it will be time to busy the mind with play. Doing a lot of emotional work, let's busy the mind with play. Doing a lot of mental stuff, let's lean into the emotions, right? We gotta balance it out. That's very cool that there's no pentacles or wands here. Very balanced. Once we're restructuring our attitudes about play, and maybe considering that play is not a task to be completed and something to check off the list, but a relationship you develop. Mm-hmm. And we're no longer really developing and fortifying those emotional relationships, whether they be with ourselves, with our guides, or with others. I may feel like, okay, just follow on whatever I'm doing here with the night and play, follow through on that. But no, this is going to inspire new emotions that we have to dive into and go, I don't even know what these are, but I'm going to feel them. And that will bring us back around to being in the feels. Okay? Hope that made sense for everybody. Now let's move on to the staff. My action, what I'm trying to do. Me. Ooh, trying to level up spiritually and trust my serenity that I have all of this abundance. I don't need it, but I have it, Strut. The killdeer. Am I carrying myself with love? So this is about like everything you do, kind of being badass and treating yourself like that. And yeah, that is the energy I'm trying to move into. Like self-trust, trust in spirit, trust in serenity, trust that I couldn't possibly be fucking up my chart. I couldn't possibly be fucking up my destiny. And so every aspect of me that I have to shine is worth shining and it's worth being proud about. So that is my overall path on this retrograde, it appears. And so the pushback from that, or the commentary I'm going to get, or the equal and opposite reaction that I can expect from this. Nice. So judgment rate at the top means, yeah, maybe I will get some judgment, especially if I'm coming from like a closed down, I don't know kind of space into like a powerful king strut space. There might be some judgment, but this card, I take it as like, yay, liberation, resurrection, rise up. And this as, believe that these trumpets rising up everybody and liberating them, believe it's for you as well. So the reaction is like incredibly positive, even if we doubt that it is. Yeah, everybody that matters is on our side, that this is the direction we're going in. I'm going to skip this to see where we're going, because this is actually what I've got to focus on to get here. So I'm going to see where we're going to see if I actually want to be there, to see how I want to handle this. I think only one time ever I've had a Celtic Cross come out with a outcome that I was like, oh, I don't want that outcome. And then that kind of changed how I was interpreting this. So all of this cycle is bringing me overall in the retrograde, potentially just till next Tuesday. Oh, another 2. Again, an emotional balance. Deepening into spiritual practice. Quieting the mind and balancing it, or like giving it something, maybe not like complicated, but something kind of tangible for it to work on and work on balancing while I get into the emotions, the water and the moon, right? That is what I could go for. Earthworm, clarity and rumination. This card, I'm sorry about like nothing is in focus. Anyway, we're trying our best. This card is about just working in like the 5 by 5 inch little piece of plot of land that you have, which is great because I'm not trying to solve all the world's problems or feel all their emotions for them. Just trying to get into my own 5 by 5 space of land. Oh, ecstasy. This is the divine wow. This is feeling so much synchronicity or astonishment or pleasure at your spiritual path, or seeing signs that align with it that you're just like, wow, this is amazing. So this is what we could have. We could have like a quieting of the mind and like an evening, a calming of the emotions, a new cycle. I'm in the northern hemisphere, so this is going to look like a new crescent moon to me. Just working on my own self, on the daily like maintenance of life kind of stuff, working on my own self to find that divine ecstasy, that divine wow. And I can get there if I treat this differently than I usually do. Okay. Clear, striped skunk. What kind of release would protect clarity in my space? So skunk is not likely to run away. Skunk is going to release what skunk releases to clear the space around him. So have I been like closing myself down for other people or leaving with my tail between my legs in a conflicting situation? Yeah. Could I let out some noxiousness and like share the love, spread the noxiousness to get it out of my system and get the people or the situations causing a reaction in me to get them to leave instead of me leaving? For sure. Lavender, tranquility, kindness, and self-care. And jovial, meditation, stillness and silence to receive. I'm probably going to read these 3. So lavender. I should put some tabs in here because I never know. I'll look for the picture. Team, I don't know why this book is not in alphabetical order. Like, truly, I do not understand. Did this page, like, dissolve? Where are you, Lavender? What area of your life needs kindness right now? And then we can look at in weighing possible approaches or beliefs, compare them to the open and aligned feeling you've created in your body. If the flow stops, slows, or dissolves, trust what that tells you. Claim your space and source its defense in love. So that's the skunk card, okay? There's an area of my life, and if I'm not sure what that is, I can meditate in stillness and silence on it. That needs a little bit more kindness and needs me to check in more about, is this situation helping me flow internally, or is it causing a restriction, a block? And so I've got to be kinder to myself about that and like lean into it. Yeah, it's not evil to feel that way. It's a little bit shitty to ignore it. It's a little bit shitty to keep it inside me when I could expel it and move on. And then let's read what Rachel Pollack says about the world, because I'm getting like success, breakthrough, expanse, but also like being in that serene, that area of serenity, that womb space. Success, breakthrough, a powerful understanding, fulfillment, wholeness, and freedom sometimes indicates recognition from the outer world. I guess I did avoid the YouTubes for a long time because of the hermitness. I don't really want to be perceived, you know? But how much of that was an unkindness to myself, I wonder. So maybe that's what Mars is asking of me. Maybe this retrograde is asking me to just keep this going, right? Strut my stuff. Not publicly, like I'm still in the privacy of my own home. I'm not on a catwalk. You know, it's internal. It's not as flashy as it could be. But I gotta be seen and maintain like a connection. Let's read this one as well. Jofiel. Where are you? That's way too far. Meditation. Finding stillness and detachment helps us towards the angelic freedom evoked by meditation. Quiet our mind, then we may hear the angels sing. At dawn and sunset, practice meditation. Breathe deeply, listen intently through a relaxed state to the divine Om, and then be still to hear the music of the angelic kingdoms. This will bring your own oracular messages. Please be aware of your solitude, stillness, and silence. If I could just get off of the social media scroll, you know? If I could recognize when not being still, when not being silent, when trying to tie into the Martian energy of what do we gotta do? What am I not doing? I shouldn't feel that way. I shouldn't do all those things. I need to be like more present and active in the world. When I negate stillness, I create delays. I create blockages. That's not kind to myself. So yeah, that ties back into the creating more spaces to do nothing, more still spaces that you want to stay in, because once you leave that still space, it's like over. Okay, and then that will lead me to the divine wow, right? Maybe that's just it, like sitting in it kindly will help me clear the blockages in my own behavior and lead me to the divine wow in a more balanced mental emotional state. Okay, I'm going to keep going. The next part is past, present, future. So I'm going to take cards 3 and 4 and 9 as the past influences the future. 5 and 6 and 10. And then 1 and 2, 7 and 8 as present. Okay. In the past, I was maybe like, I don't know how to take those emotions. Like, I don't know how to embody them. And I maybe really actually didn't know how to go about play. Like, I did think it was task-based, and I didn't know how to approach that task. And I would say that I was in like an incubation womb space, which was very still, while my body developed all the signals necessary to let me know now, you know, what has not been working. It worked then, and like not everything is active all the time. There's things in us that's dormant and then it needs to develop. So maybe that's what this is, right? Can you imagine if I had been like meditating since infancy? I'd be insufferable. Chat, I would be so obnoxious. Even more than I already am. What I'm doing in the presently, Wheel of Fortune, it's an incredibly fortuitous time. Reverse 9, whenever I have a sideways card, I always turn it this way. So that's a standard that I have so that I can read them as upright or sideways, or upright or reverse. Reverse 9 of Wands, coming out of a difficult time, coming out of the mental prison, not really being so focused on material success, being more tied into like the spiritual side of success and abundance, but thus still being able to appreciate and be in material success and abundance, and like really believing that that's for me, really believing that this is happening, and I'm not deluding myself into thinking it's happening and then I'm gonna have like a rude awakening any day now. That's what I'm trying to be right now. And where that's going to be in the future is a state of more mental and emotional balance, but also a deeper spiritual practice, more access to the divine wow, and a fortification of how I meet and am met in all emotional relationship, be that me to me, me to guides, me to friends, me to lovers, and following whatever path I've been started on, even if I have no idea where it's going or where it's taking me, because both of these people have blindfolds on. So it's not about physical perception and it's not about knowing now where it's all going to go. We just have to go with it. I do not remember the name of this next permutation. I think it's like the reverse tree of life. I don't know, but I want to talk about it. So this next one is like a fractal of what's starting, what's resisting, and what's becoming. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that still brings us to 10, the new cycle. What is the thesis? What's beginning? What's beginning is a time of fortune and serenity, socializing, trusting in our ability to endure and to cross whatever bridge we need to cross, and trusting in like our inner knowing and in like divine light and Mars's path through this, and a time of creation, opportunity, and caring, particularly internally. Maybe I've outsourced that a lot, or I've given it to other people but not given it to me, or maybe I haven't received it and so now it's all going to pour down onto me. What's resisting that, the antithesis to that thesis, is that we maybe have to undo a lot of the things that we've been using to self-soothe that don't actually bring joy. And we don't even know what that is because it's a mystery, it's concealment. And maybe that's the path of this retrograde, is picking out like, oh, that actually, it used to work, or I used to think it worked, but now it doesn't. And that's okay, it's a time of change. And what synthesizes all of that together and brings us into the next, this is like a big fractal, brings us into the next level, is take the cup. You don't have to know even what it is you're feeling, just feel it. It's a messy time going through change, and coming out of old cycles, old processes, old behaviors, old mind sets and structures. So like, take it, feel it. You don't have to know anything about what's going on right now. Just vibe with it. I want to pause here and say, if you are taking that message as permission to like go off meds, or to not see doctors, or to like throw caution to the wind, please do not. Please take care of yourself utmost, okay? What is resisting all of this? The antithesis to everything is that we don't really know how to play, or we're feeling like, I gotta go do it. Like, if this is not a time of doing, then this is a time of playing. But actually, I think it's a time of resting, okay? Maybe you enjoy rest as play. The thing that's going to resist that, the antithesis to the antithesis, so what resists that and helps us through, is that we are in the process, I am in the process of fortifying my emotional relationships across the board, because I'm in the process of fortifying how I stand in my emotional truth And so I let others with their emotional truth approach me and share, but I'm not rushing out to solve or fix or heal or distract myself from what I'm feeling. I'm feeling it, okay? And then what synthesizes all of that through to the next phase is we just have to keep following this path that we started on, okay? That we started on, whenever Mars first passed 17 degrees Cancer, which would have been weeks ago, yeah? But, we're all, I feel like a lot of us collective are all in this one trajectory, and it's not changed, right? Same path. The thesis of the entire synthesis is that we're learning how to really embody abundance and shine like from our heart space and just trust that what we have to share and strut is worth sharing, and then carrying myself with love. The resistance to all of that is I doubt that success is really mine on the other side of all this. I've got doubts that this is really going to work, and I'm not going to tip back into the water and be made a fool by spirit and myself. And the synthesis of all of this, what brings us into card 10, emotional and mental balance, a deeper spiritual practice, really being able to just work in my space on what I'm able to work on, and really being able to connect in with the divine wow. How I get there, what synthesizes everything together, is believing in the breakthroughs I'm going to get from stillness, from allowing Mars and my Martian aspects to be slow and to stop and to slow down and to clear out everything in me that is actually not kind. Ties into this. This is a very cohesive message, I feel like. Like, wow, Spirit, you coming through. Okay, so now I'm going to do the whole person summary, which is by suit and number. We don't have any wand cards. We've got some cups. Oh my god. We have lots of sword cards. We have a pentacle. And we have Hella Major Arcana. Okay, there is no creative energy, there is no spiritual energy in this reading today, which either means we're completely ignoring it, which I don't think, because here we are, or it means it's just not pertinent and it's like kind of lacking right now. And yes, I've been sleeping all week, and Mars, planet of energy and like getting up and doing stuff, and also my chart ruler, he's slow and he's stopping. So no, I don't have the energy, which is fine. I've just been vibing, and that's cool. The emotional energy and the ability to love and dream is present. 2-4, it's constructive. We're moving from I have my needs and there's those needs, and then how do I build something out of it? And I'm learning through emotional flooding, like of myself, like just letting myself feel stuff and stay stood where I am and letting those emotions come to me. Huge imbalance of mental energy, thinking I should, I ought, what I need to do, natter, blah, blah, blah. And so what also came up for me today was when I realize I am fixated on like a same old problem that I'm trying not to think about, unless I am in the safety of my bath, is to get the body moving, get up and move. Whether we can move right into play, I don't know. Don't force anything, like don't be mad at yourself if you're not tying into play, because again, there's not a lot of fire energy here, so maybe the joie de vivre is like not really present for us. Try not to rely on the mind and the mental perception right now. 2 to 8, another structural. We're learning how to balance. We don't have to go through the 4 of like learning my mental structure, because it's pretty strong, it's time to balance it and then upgrade it to the next level. And so we just have to trust. What do we have to trust? The body. The knights, I think I'll speak, like anytime I see a horse, I consider it the body. And so when he's reversed, the body is at the top of the card, not the mind, the body. And the body is moving towards the future, whereas the mind is rushing us to the past. Okay? And then what's at the top of this card? Rest. And what's all over this blanket? Astrological symbols. And then the 9 is tipping over into a new cycle. So if we can sit and put the body first and say, mind, I mean, you're powerful, but let's take a back seat right now. You're not the only facet that I have to work with. We're going to move into a new cycle if we get, because we're coming out of these prisons, these mental prisons that kept us from play. Yeah. And then the foundation, our material support is not lacking. It's not nowhere. It feels like it may be precarious, but it's right over the judgment card. So I would say, like, trust that it's fine. And like, he is so solid, upright or reverse. In my opinion, like, he's just covered in bulls and Taurus, and like, yes, he's dressed in this beautiful robe and he looks very peaceful, but he's wearing armor. That's a little armored foot right there. And he's focused on his coin, on his kingdom. He doesn't need to think about anything else. He's letting himself strut, right? And so I would say, lean into the stability that you already have. Lean into it to the level that you feel comfortable enough to, like, strut about it, you know? I don't know how many people here, like, dance in their room or like dance in their apartment all alone, but I did not grow up as that kind of girl. And so maybe I can trust in my stability enough, in my manifest reality enough, that it's not going to be ripped out from under me, to get into that a bit more. Yeah, because this is my space and I'm allowed to do that here, kind of thing. And that leads us into the major arcana. This is a lot. This is more than these two, certainly more than that energy. The only thing overpowering this archetypal energy trying to come through and act in my life right now is mental blockages. Should, ought, shouldn't I don't know. I need to know first. All of this knowing stuff that I think has to come top down, but it really needs to come bottom up. It has to come from the body. It's coming from the emotions, right? Like, it's coming from feeding the body, which is feeding and regulating the emotions. And so what I'm aware of that I'm letting come through, problems, is fortune, prosperity, this fixed energy here as well, and success, breakthrough, but also being protected. And what is begging me to allow through, to allow up and into my life, is belief that yes, this liberation, this change, this new rebirth into a new life, into a lighter life, a happier life, a celebratory life, is for me. Please believe it. Wow, okay, I'll try my best. And now I'm going to rearrange the cards in numerical order. So I consider pages to be 0, like the Fool. I consider aces and the Magician and knights to all be 1, because knight and magician both work for the king. So I have a knight, and then I have a 2, and a 2, and then 21 is going to go down into 3. Kings are all 4s, like the Emperor. No 5. Oh, we've got a 4 here as well. No, this is a 2, right? 20? Roman numerals are hard, man. 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. No 5. No 6. No 7. 8, 9, 10. 1. Trust your body over your mind. Lean into play. Play for the body. Maybe let's play for the mind. I'm big on video games, which is mental play, right? Not really big on physical with my body play. 1, get into the body. 2 is here I am. Oh, there's another. But it's also about balance and tension. Mental, emotional. Believe that you are being balanced. Believe that your emotional balance is being fortified as you work just in what you have to work with, and you're not looking too far in the future, too far in the back, looking at other people, thinking about your place with other people. Just think about you and really lean into the divine wow. Believe that the divine wow is for you. 3s, what's coming out that's new? What are we birthing? What are we embodying? Success. Success within stillness. Success within silence and connection with the divine. Success when we get still enough to give ourselves the space to clear out what is not kind in our own self behavior. Mars is all about the self. 4s, not really a time of emotional balance. That's fine. Say you don't know really what's going on and lean into it, because that is going to like clear through a bunch of like stagnant, if she was upside down it would be stagnation, a bunch of like stagnant emotional stuff that we've maybe been pushing through mentally, and not allowing to like walk out on its own, or like express, even if it's frenzied on its own. We're feeling it, and that is going to allow us to see like what our real gifts and our real strengths are under all that muck that we've been avoiding and saying like, no, I can't feel that, no, I'm too stoic or whatever. And it's going to show us that we are badass and we do have a light to shine. And then there's no 5, there's nothing to like really order. There's no 6, there's no new thing to be aware of. There's no 7, there's nothing that we need to like bring mastery to or give meaning to. Like, I've already got meaning, here I am. I've already got order, like I have this practice set up and I'm aware of what Mars is doing, like I've got it all mapped out. And if there's no 6, then I can assume that the new thing coming out is that's what's coming out. I don't have to think about, well, where's that going next? It's just, we're going to be here, and then that's going to tip us into the next cycle. What kind of cycle? A new fortuitous mental cycle, where we trusted our body over the mind and we followed the path we were on, and we allowed ourselves to undo all of the mental blockages that were keeping us from experiencing joy in a soothing way and from receiving peace. And like that is where we're going, into fortune, into a relationship with our inner knowing and strength and serenity in our magic and creativity. I'm going to read the Elk card. The Elk card is actually the very first card I picked out of this deck. So I'm going to read the whole thing. Some life experiences leave us longing for the reassurance and sagacity of a beloved elder, someone who knows how it feels, and that it won't last forever. If you feel engulfed, saturated, or overcome right now, take heart. Elk guards the bridge to the other side with utmost care. He comes when the only way is through. Very Martian message, oh my goodness. Elk is most active at dawn and dusk, those transitional times between night and day. Although he has strength and speed, his message today is more about spiritual stamina. How do his attributes translate? Start with antlers growing heavenward from your crown. Reject any mindset that asks you to truncate your otherworldly senses until the situation is over. Okay? Reject anything that tells you to take off this blindfold and be here in the real world. You are in the real world. Spirituality is part of the real world, okay? Trust your body and what you're doing. Sorry. Got heated there. No pain, no gain, and work hard, play hard might appear innocuous, but their energetic imprint is fragmenting, especially when we have nothing physical left to give. Very Martian message, wow. Pushing ourselves further is not the answer. Find a moment in the midst to plug into source or God energy. What does that look like for you? Given Elk's infamous bugle call, consider sound options like your own vocalization, humming, or singing. Ask what would break up the mental load. Consider the design of Elk's fur, which sports an extra layer in winter. His undercoat keeps the heat in even while the outer layer is caked with snow. What would insulate you from absorbing your external circumstances at the expense of your inner comfort? Invite Elk's cousin, white-tailed deer, to help you trust your knowing. She came up for me earlier as well. Wow. Although the male elk may have a more commanding physical presence, elk herds are actually matriarchal. Let your knowing lead you over the bridge and find out how strong you really are. If there was ever a card for Mars retrograde, it is this card. Like, what? What? I see you, Mars. I see you, Source. I see you, Spirit. Thank you so much for these messages. I hope that helps anybody else. It certainly helped me. Will I apply it? I've got months to learn how, okay? Okay, team. I am going to arrange these cards so we can see what other messages are coming through. It is random every time which spot gets like which oracle cards. It's not planned. Okay, let's do all of these ones. I like doing this because it gives me a different way to see the message. And so fortify, play. Play, fortify. How do we fortify ourselves? With play, not a new message, okay? Amanda, I see you from the connected conduit. Play, fortify. Fortify, play. Follow, saying, I don't know. Socializing and undoing stuff. Maybe this is the energy that has to go. We do know. We have tons of inner knowing. That's what this whole spread was about. All the ladies with their blindfolds. This inner knowing with the endure, with the elk. So maybe just following along and undoing like our own inner knowing and saying, I don't know, and trying to like fit in with the crowd. Maybe that's not, that's a very Martian message. Of course he doesn't care about the card, about the crowd. And of course he wants to know everything, and of course he doesn't follow. He fortifies, and he's like excited. Like Mars, people think Mars says no, but in my opinion, Mars says no so that he can say fuck yes, So I think that's hella interesting. Hopefully that helps anybody. And then let's look here. What do we got? Endure, soothe, strut, clear. So we're crossing some internal bridges here, and we've got to trust that we know how to get through it and that we are strong enough to get through it. And we're crossing the bridge into being able, this is a do card, into being able to strut our stuff and really carry ourselves with love, even if it's hard and we don't really know like where we're going. And then we can claim, green is claiming card. We can claim that we do have the power to clear out anything that's crowding us or dimming our light or making us doubt that internal flow towards brightness and towards source. If it's making us constrict, internally we need to clear it out, which is probably like if it's all internal and it's skunk spray, like I'm gonna be the recipient of that, but I can get through it, right? And getting through it is gonna give me a new layer of confidence in what I can get through, that I can strut. The central piece of all of this is now the third day in a row this card is coming out. It came out in my personal reflection, so it's not in the other videos, is river, soothe. Am I receiving peace? Rest. Rest as often as you can. Get in your bathtub or like whatever is equivalent. Really lean into the things you already know. Help regulate, help rest, help rejuvenate you, and allow the stillness and the knowing that we're going through to find more of those and less of the mental distraction. I'm just taking up time until I get to go to sleep kind of stuff. Yeah. That's very interesting that that came out with the same layout. Cauldron, creativity, opportunity, caring, moth, mystery, concealment, illusion, lavender, tranquility, kindness, self-care. So if we put that all together, maybe we don't really know what we're doing all the self-care for, because it doesn't really feel like a creative like endeavor, or like we can't see what opportunities are going to come on the other side of that with all of this like in the darkness moth concealing. But that's okay. Just work on what you're working on. Just be where you are, be here now. And if you can, get out of the mental and into the physical. Like, just look around and find what works for me. This is like a Saturn tip for like a melancholic Saturn person who like discipline doesn't work for. I'm gonna have a whole series on that one day, trust. Is find the smallest chore. Like, what's the least you could possibly do? What's the least amount of effort you could put in right now? And you just do that a time or two or seven as you're trying to get out of your head and get into your body and into your space and into like a space to work on. And maybe that's how we get clarity in our rumination, right? Get your hands busy, because all of this is happening internally. So what do you do with your body while all of this is happening internally? Let's read the earthworm. What can you do to help yourself when you feel overwhelmed? All right, the smallest chore, right? For me, it's picking up cat food cans and lids, okay? That's my smallest chore that I do. Maybe I pick up socks. And then we can look at the angels. These layouts are Bananarama, okay? Serenity, meditation, ecstasy, joy. Joy reversed. Maybe internal, but maybe in development. Maybe now is not the time for ecstatic, out loud, vibrant joy. It is time instead to be still and to be silent and to really connect and to believe in serenity, to like believe that we are doing what we can and that that is enough, and believing in the divine wow and believing in our spiritual practice and being in serenity and the stillness lets those messages through, and that will help us develop into a new cycle of joy. Once again, the animal is at the top of the card. It's about the body. It's not about the idea of joy. It's about giving our body the space and the serenity to feel that divine wow instead of searching for it with the mind. Yeah? And then we can look at who's coming through. 2 cards from Jovial. So if you're looking for who to lean into through the next week or the Mars retrograde, Jovial. And then we have Shemael. Shemael was yesterday as well. And Zafkiel. Okay. That's what I got, team. Go in peace. Go in rest. Go in dedication to internal knowing. And putting the body up and our light up above should and mind and having it all mapped out first. Okay? It's a long transit. We're going to be in this space for a while. So let it happen and let yourself develop through it. Self, she says to herself. Okay. We got it. We got it. It's going to be great. Okay, take care.